welcome back. That was crazy. Welcome back to Out of Left Field. Guys, I'm going to be so honest. She and I ran this back last week, lost the whole recording. So here we are. She's so kind enough to do it again. So we're going to roll right into it. A couple weeks ago, you got to be a part of the MLB's Home Run Derby X. I saw it on social media, wasn't quite sure exactly how it worked, but it looked cool. You gave me a great breakdown. So can you give viewers that same explanation of what the heck it is?
Yeah, absolutely. It truly was a blast. I kind of felt the same way as you. I wasn't quite sure what I was getting myself into, but I'm so thankful for the whole experience. It was such a fun summer. So basically what Home Run Derby X is a 3-on-3 home run derby, but with defense. So each team is made up of a past MLB All-Star, a current female professional player, and then in some of the events, minor league prospects, like the guys that they think are going to be the next big thing. So each team is made up of 3 players, like I said, and you alternate at bats. So one team will hit and the other team will play defense, and you flip like innings, just like a real game, until all 3 players have gone. And each home run is worth a point, and each defensive catch is worth a point. So whoever has the most points at the end of 3 innings is the winner.
Great explanation. Super simple, right? You got to be in the room or on a team with a couple of really cool people. Tell me about your team, what the experience was like for you.
Yeah. In a not biased way at all, I certainly had the best team of the whole thing. They're wonderful guys. So I was a part of Team Nationals and had Mr. National himself, Ryan Zimmerman, and Ian Desmond. And they were both just fantastic people. Obviously, incredible baseball players. I think both multiple-time All-Stars. And it was so cool. The first thing that everyone said to me about them when I was like, oh, yeah, I'm on a team with Ryan and Ian, just talked about how great of guys they were. Obviously, the baseball speaks for itself, but that was everyone's first response, was just they're great humans. And they definitely stepped up. They lived up to the hype, and I'm so thankful to have been on a team with them. They were incredible, took care of me the whole summer, and were just great humans to be with.
Y'all had a pretty good run, huh?
Oh, yeah, they were great. They were unbelievable players. We had so much fun.
When you look back at the experience as a whole, what do you think you'll take with you? Obviously, baseball and softball, very different. You guys were hitting on a stage, and I know that's quite a challenge, but what do you think you're going to take with you back into your professional career as an AUSL player?
Yeah, honestly, the coolest part for me, I mean, there were so many cool parts. Getting to play with those guys was so cool, and getting to hit in some unbelievable stadiums was great. But the coolest part for me, just as a hitter, was to be around players that I have grown up trying to be like my whole life. I was a baseball kid. I grew up watching baseball. I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan. And so my very first Home Run Derby X event, Andrew Jones was there hitting on the stage, and it was just the greatest thing that could have ever happened to Ali. So I think just as a hitter, being able to watch those guys, even though they're not maybe playing anymore, go about their process and listen to them talk shop and talk about the swing and what they feel and what they do and how they used to work was so cool for me, and just a wealth of knowledge that I get to bring back. And it really was awesome. That was the coolest part for me.
How exactly did you get involved? I remember you telling me last time, but it was such you pretty much shot your shot, right?
Kind of. So back in either I think it was 22, they were doing test events for Home Run Derby X to try and figure out the format, the field size, all of this stuff. And I think just from my like MLB subscription, I got an email saying, "Hey, would you want to be involved in?" And I think I was one of the few people who actually read it, because we don't read our subscription emails. But I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds really cool." So I applied to be in one of the test events and actually got accepted. They're like, "Yes, come." And I was like, "Oh gosh, this is so cool."
Wow.
And then a schedule changed or something like that. I think we ended up having to be back at LSU earlier than I originally thought, so I wasn't able to go. And then, so that was a bummer, but I didn't really think twice about it again after that. And then I moved to Raleigh. I'm working at NC State now with their softball team, and right down the street is Pro 5 baseball, which is kind of like a baseball only version of IMG. Okay. And the guys there are heavily involved in Home Run Derby X. They knew the coaches here at State, and I just got back connected, and they were like, "Oh, well, would you want to try again?" I was like, 100%, I would like to try again. So I went and I hit with the guys for a couple of days and ended up back in the mix. So super thankful for that. All comes full circle.
That's crazy. You said 2022 and I was like, "Oh, that wasn't that long ago." No,
I
it's 3
know.
years ago, almost 4 now. So this started a while ago of you beginning the process and just getting your foot in the door a little bit. That's awesome. I do want to talk about your AUSL career, your first year. Um, what we talked about last time and what I've been screaming from the rooftops is how important it is that MLB is backing the AUSL in so many different ways. The ownership stake that they have, promoting it across MLB.com, having the games on ESPN, the Home Run Derby X. They're doing the most to make sure that this sport really gets the platform that it deserves. From your perspective as a player in the league, how important is that to you? And what message does that send?
Yeah, I think it sends a huge message. I think anybody who chooses to believe in you makes a huge difference. Obviously, we know the product and we know that we're great players, but to have, you know, a huge organization like MLB come in and say, okay, we think this can be great, it really matters and means a lot to us. I think it starts from the top though. Commissioner Kim Ing, who just chose us. Everybody likes to be chosen, I think, in every part of your life, but for her to have chosen us when she was doing such great things, you know, in Major League Baseball with the Marlins, and to come over and really buy into softball and buy into, you know, what these professional women can do was a big ask, and she really stepped up to it. So super thankful for what she has done for us and the way that she chose us in that way. But agree, the league backing, you know, professional softball makes a big difference for us. It just expands opportunity to watch. I think that was something that like I have been screaming for is we have to stream this better. We have to get it out to people. And so the opportunity to be on MLB TV, to be on ESPN Plus all the time, people just accidentally log on to softball games. And as much as that, you know, sounds trivial, it really does make a big difference because all of a
Absolutely.
sudden you're like, oh my gosh, these girls are kind of good. This is cool. And I think that happens to baseball fans a lot. They start watching during, you know, playoff college softball or whatever it may be. And they're like, oh, this is fast. These kids are good. And
Yeah.
so to have more of an opportunity for people to do that, to accidentally happen upon the sport that we love is huge, makes a huge difference for us.
I will say I made a TikTok about Team USA and it blew up at like because nobody knew about it. And I'm still getting comments. That was a month ago, maybe even more. I can't even remember. It might have been a month and a half ago. And I'm still getting comments of where can we watch? Where can we watch? Which one, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's an audience here that is genuinely interested in supporting women's softball, but they don't know where to go. So MLB stepping in with the AUSL is building that foundation to be like, hey guys, there's an outlet for you can watch professional women's softball. It's here, and just pushing that out. And I told you, I have people in my life that I know for a fact did exactly what you just said of accidentally landed on an AUSL game on ESPN, and they are now fans of the league or of a specific team or something. And that does go such a long way. Another thing that kind of really holds weight, and we talked about this last time, is social media. And you are one of the ones, and there's a lot of y'all in the league that are making content about the AUSL, about softball. And you've really done a great job of making it part of your brand, you know, basically giving lessons online sometimes, and sometimes it's funny content and everything. But tell me what the mission was behind that kind of content and why you chose to start sharing that with your following.
Yeah, I kind of happened upon it accidentally. LSU obviously plays such a big part in my career and the places that I am today. And they've done such a phenomenal job of empowering us to build a brand that we're proud of and to push out content that we're proud of and that represents us well. So it certainly started in college. I just wanted to kind of document my college career and have fun with my friends and do some cool things. I actually am a journalism major. So I started doing some video things in the classroom, and then was like, oh, I kind of like this, and continued to do it with my own social media. And it's just grown from there. I've really enjoyed it. And so I've continued to push out some content, try and find new things that I enjoy to do. And since kind of my following has grown to something more than I ever expected it to, I just feel responsible is not the right word, but I just feel like empowered with an opportunity to share. And
Absolutely.
I think we are in such an age of our sport where it's not accessible anymore. There are so many people who are priced out of being baseball and softball players, and that sucks. I think we definitely down in that way, but I think as far as my platform goes, it's just an opportunity to give kids who maybe don't have that a chance to see, their work, doing whatever it is their routine is, to swing, to field, to just to play, and an opportunity to see them do what they're great at. So having that opportunity to put it out, to whoever wants to see it. It's not necessarily for kids who can't play, but just I think there's an opportunity for us to share a lot more good knowledge than is maybe being put out right now. So just feel our responsibility to give people more of a chance.
Yeah. And I think two things about that. One, it's always, there's a lot of you that are playing, right? Currently and coaching or doing some sort of mentorship with either college athletes, high school, whatever it is. And to get knowledge from people who are still in the game is a game changer, because there's that element of empathy, and like you can relate because you're doing it too. You always respect somebody more when they're giving you advice because they're in the same boat or they're going through the same things, they're working towards similar goals. So you guys making content like that and being very open with, hey, this works for me, this doesn't work for me on social media is great. And on the other side of that, again, as I get older, I understand how expensive it is to be an adult. And when you're a parent with kids, and I have so much respect because it is expensive to have kids in travel ball. And that limits some people's ability to be involved and to go to these exposure tournaments or to take these high-end lessons, And the more content that you guys make, you're opening up doors for people that may have never had an opportunity just because of how pricey it can get to play ball. So again, I commend all of you on the way that you choose to use your platforms to give back to the next generation. I think it's groundbreaking to see how involved you guys are and how much y'all care about the women beneath you and the girls beneath you, like trying to make their way up. I think that's something that, and I'm lucky enough that I've gotten to talk to quite a few AUSL players, quite a few LSU players. And that seems to be a message across everybody of, we want to help, we want to give back. So yeah, that's awesome to hear, truly. And you're doing a great job. You touched a little bit on LSU and how that kind of primed you for AUSL. You're playing with a couple of your former teammates. What's that experience been like? What did you take from LSU that you're now bringing with you into the pro game?
Yeah, so much. I am definitely in debt to that university, and that program will always be thankful to have been a Tiger, and to get to do this professionally with 4 or 5 of my other teammates that I got to share the field with was awesome. To get to see Carly pitch, in person for the first time was unbelievable. I grew up, I committed and then watched the 15, 16, 17 World Series run, and that was awesome. So to get to see her pitch in person and get to know her a little bit better was so cool, and I'm so grateful for that experience. But I think just what I have taken from LSU, obviously that staff was second to none. I was so blessed to play for them, and they made me even more of a player than I think I ever thought I would be. And so I'm thankful to them for that. But one thing I always remember and that I always come back to is Coach would always tell us, if somebody comes to watch LSU play for the first time today, all I want them to say is that LSU plays hard. Not that you're good and not that we're great hitters or not that we can pitch, but LSU plays hard. And that was certainly something that my parents instilled in me growing up. And to have a staff that also did that for me, I will never forget her saying that. And that's always what I want people to think when they watch me play, is it's so fun to watch her play. Like, Ali Newland plays hard. And so that's something that I will take with me forever. There's so many skills and so many other things that obviously I learned while I was there, but like Ali Newland plays hard is something that I hope that people will say about me for the rest of my career.
I can tell you from covering the sport, being a fan, and really being involved, luckily in the inaugural season of the AUSL. That's definitely what people are saying about you. I promise you that. I remember you talking about, you know, how committed you and your dad were to just getting better and to working hard and to doing like instilling that in you of like that grind. And it's really cool to see that translate through college ball and to the AUSL. That's awesome. What's it been like to play with some of your former teammates?
So cool. I learned so much from them. I hope they learned a lot from me, but we're also different. And I think that's what's the coolest part of this whole thing is very different players. Obviously, we do different things, but then also just very different personalities. And so proof that super different personalities can still be successful and can still be great ball players, different body types, different backgrounds, different positions, just to see all of us be successful on this stage is so cool. And I'm so glad that I get to watch them, you know, in a new uniform now. I got to watch them be successful in college, and now I get to cheer for the same people on the professional level. And it's been very cool and very grateful for just the LSU family that we've built and the chance to continue, you know, pulling for each other.
When you look back on your first season as a whole, and I know it's probably very chaotic just because building a league, right? There's a lot of things to learn and how to grow the league and how like what do you take away from your first season overall?
Yeah, I think if nothing else, this first year of AUSL was a lesson in gratitude, just to be thankful for where my feet are. The timing of all of this, you know, I think people could think it's bad, people can think it's good, whatever, but it just is what it is. And so to have people who are committed to growing the league where we are right now, I'm super thankful for that. And like you said, there are growing pains in growing anything, and so all of the bumps in the road were just part of it. And to be able to be a part of something that is so much bigger than myself, just to be grateful for where my feet are and grateful for how far we've come. If you had asked me, you know, my freshman year of college, oh, you're going to be playing professionally one day, I thought you were crazy. Like there's no opportunity for that. And I think really no opportunity, you know, for players like me who maybe aren't the flashiest and aren't the biggest and strongest or pitch the hardest and all of those things. So that we have grown to a space in the league where there are more types of players who get to continue playing is awesome. And that, you know, you can be 5'3" and maybe not hit 50 home runs a year, but still find success in the league. And so I'm just grateful for how far we've come and people who are giving us a chance to be successful. The unsung heroes of all of this is our director of operations, the marketing team, the social team, all of those people behind the scenes who have pushed the league forward. Because, you know, without them, we're just like playing softball for nothing, not for nothing, but you know, we're playing softball in the same space that we were, you know, 10 years ago. And so just super thankful for all of the people behind the scenes who maybe don't get the ESPN airtime, but are just as important to it nonetheless. We don't get to play softball if it's not for them. So just a lesson in gratitude for where we are right now and for how far we've come to get here for sure.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off of that and give flowers to everybody in the organization. Like I said, I was lucky enough to be able to work with you guys throughout this first season, and every single person that I collaborated with or that I was talking to about scheduling, I mean the security guards at the gates at the
Yes.
games, everybody was working towards the same goal, was so friendly and willing to help each other, and to be in media and have the kind of help that I got from y'all's organization, from the players, was incredible for me personally. And then to see that translate to the way that you guys are really spotlighted and taken care of and just put on a pedestal for who you are and what y'all do. It's amazing for the sport. It really is. So I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but you're still going to continue to play. Do you have any goals set for yourself going into the next season? You got some time. I know the off season is crazy because you're at NC State, but do you have any goals set for next season for yourself?
Yeah, I think I would like to play for as long as I can. Obviously, we're kind of in a unique position as female athletes as this thing is still growing. So all of us still have real jobs. And I really want to work in baseball one day in like either a marketing capacity or maybe one day in a management capacity. So I am definitely like looking ahead a little bit to that, and I want to be able to do that one day, but I'm not quite done playing just yet. So
Yeah.
I really want to be where my feet are and continue to do that. But I don't know about goals for myself. I've always just wanted to be the very best softball player that I could be. And whatever that was is what it was. I think, everybody wants to be the MVP of the league and everybody wants to be this and everybody wants to be that. But I just, like, when all this is said and done, I feel like I could not have been a better softball player than I was. And so I'm definitely grateful for all the people who have helped me get to that point. There is lots of front toss to be thrown and fungo to be hit for that to happen. So that's all I want to feel at the end of the day. There was nothing more I could have done. So excited for that. Excited to keep working. About to go swing here in a minute. So
I know I'm going to wrap up quick.
Oh no, that's okay. I'm not. But I that's all I've ever wanted to feel about when my career was over.
Yeah, that constantly chasing the best version of yourself, I think, is a great goal to have. Nothing too small and minuscule, or I think that's the way you get to those big goals,
Yeah.
and those titles and the records and all kinds of stuff, is constantly chasing the best version of yourself. We touched on it a little bit. You've mentioned it a few times. NC State, what are you doing over there? Talk to me.
I'm doing a little bit of everything. So I'm here as a grad assistant and getting to help rebuild this program. This staff is in year 3 of taking over this team, and so just continuing to build the culture here into like a school that can be great 100%. Raleigh is beautiful. It's an awesome area. NC State is such a cool place to be and has some great fans that are so bought into this place being good. And so to get to be a part of the staff, I'm learning so much, and a new group of kids who is like hungry to be great has been so fun. And so getting to like swing with them on random days when I need help and getting to take defense with them, on our off days and things like that is super cool. And I'm just excited for the future of this place. I have built recruiting backdrops. I have taken pictures. I have hit fungo. I have done a little bit of everything here. And so it's been really fun getting to learn what I love and to learn from this staff as I continue to do it.
I saw the other day you made, I guess it may have been a reel, of you building the backdrop and then holding a camera. And I was like, damn, she's really doing all of it. Like, you are wearing all the hats, but building the backdrop and then having to take the pictures, like, I get it. It's a lot of work. It goes unnoticed sometimes, but you put in some work there. You're working with Lindsey Leftwich, who was formerly at LSU. So what's that kind of like? What is that? Did you guys have a prior relationship? Like, how has it been to translate into working with her?
Yeah, it's been super cool. And honestly, just so fun to get to swing with her again. So I was coached by her at the beginning of my LSU career before she took this head coach job. And so to be back with her and watching her lead her own team has been really awesome. And I'm super proud of, everything that she's done here. It's been fun to get to watch her be the boss, even though that's maybe not what's natural for her. And so that's been great. Very proud of all the work she's done. She has built such a phenomenal staff here that I have learned a ton from. Coach Bosch, who was previously at Florida, and then Coach G from Indiana and Coach Grayson and Coach Page from Liberty, just to get to learn from them. And a new staff, you can appreciate that. To have a new perspective has been honestly good for my softball game also, to get to hear from new people. And getting to swing with Coach Lenz every day has been such a big part, of being successful as I continue in my pro career, because as you guys know, we talked about it earlier, we all still have jobs. And so being in a college setting is definitely helpful, and getting to, she's nice enough to let me use their machines and use their field and use all of those things. So to get to continue to be coached has been a blessing for me. And it's been really fun to, be a part of building her team with her.
When you say being around different perspectives, can you dive into that a little bit more, of like what actually is different than maybe what you went into that job with?
Yeah, I think, that staff at LSU had been together for so long. And so they were not set in their ways. That's not what I mean at all. But they had built, a culture and a practice and
Right.
a standard that they were really proud of.
Right.
And so I obviously am very proud of that too. I will be a Tiger for life, but to continue learning and never being satisfied with what I think is such a great thing for anywhere that you go in your life, honestly, but especially in sports. And so to get, little pieces of Florida from Bosch and how successful that they have been in the past. And then Coach Cassidy from Liberty, she was at Liberty for 9 years. She started the program, with Dot, and what an incredible opportunity to do that from her. But she had the pitcher of the year in the conference 5 times there. And so to get to learn from a great pitching coach makes you a better hitter. And so I've just been thankful for, every moment of them continuing to make me better and, choosing to do that. Because they certainly don't have to. They could be focused on their own team, but to get little pieces of what they've brought from everywhere they've been has made me a better athlete, and hopefully will, continue making us better here.
Yeah, that great feedback, having a lot of different perspectives and a little different pieces of organizations, teams, cultures kind of mixing around and making their own culture, I think is pretty cool. I forgot to ask this. Actually, I didn't ask this last time. Do you ever post content and your girls, like your team, say something to you about it?
Yes.
Okay.
I forget that real people see that sometimes. I'm just like, I really do enjoy it. Like, I love to hit and I love to make that content, and then I put it up and it's gone from my mind. I don't think about it anymore. I don't want to watch it again.
Right. I don't want to hear my voice, nothing.
No,
yeah.
no, especially, if you're voicing over something and you've done it 27 times, I don't ever want to hear myself speak ever again. But yes, real people see that. And sometimes I forget that. I definitely did the same thing in college. I forgot that I was playing on national television all the time. I was just out there having the time of my life. And then, stuff gets clipped of you chasing a bug in the outfield that's running after you or falling down somewhere. And you're just like, oh my gosh. But it definitely happens here. The girls, poke at me about the Instagram all the time, but then sometimes they want to be in it. And so it's been super fun. And to honestly get to teach them some of the things that I have learned and continue to do as I'm building my social media, to get to help them do that and give them ideas. Be somebody who can, repost, comment, and do all of those things for them and hopefully help them grow their brands, is an opportunity for me as well. I tell them all the time, and I'll tell everybody, on the internet now, if you're on a team or part, or if you have friends or whatever it is. So if you have 25 people on your team, right? And I post something, at the very least, you should have 24 comments on your stuff, because it makes that big of a difference. So I'm always frustrated when people post and nobody on their team reshares or comments or does anything like that, because it really, like, that could be the difference in the growth of their profile. So if you have somebody, close to you on your team, in your organization, who is really trying to do this social media thing and grow their brand and do all of that, there's no reason that, everybody on that team shouldn't leave a comment. Or if your college team puts up content through, the team account, it should have 25 comments on it. It should, all of those things make such a big difference in pushing the growth of not only your team, but, then by proxy yourself forward. So to everybody out there, all the players out there, comment on your friends' stuff and, support them in that, especially if they're really making an effort to do this thing.
Dude, I love that you said that. I think people look at that as it's so silly, or like, oh, you
Right.
just, it's vain. Like, you just want more. Like, that's not it at all. Like, there's science behind this, that if you want to grow the exposure that the game is getting, or, NIL and personal brands are such a big part of not just softball, but all sports, and honestly, industries across everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should be supporting each other. And that, it sounds silly to leave a comment or a like, but it goes such a long way. So I'm actually so glad that you said that, because I feel like that's an important lesson that people just don't talk about, because it just sounds silly, but it's a very basic thing that can make a big difference. I love that you tell your girls that.
It's hard to put yourself out there you
Dude.
know, like I put stuff up and I get mean comments on my stuff, or I get people who, you know, tell me it's dumb, and all that's fine. You know, engagement is engagement. So you keep doing it. But,
Yes, it
but
is.
but it's hard to put yourself out there and to make content that you're proud of and do all of those things. So, you know, to have your friends and family, which is really, you know, what a college team becomes, support you just makes a big difference in that way too. Of you feeling, continuing to feel confident that your stuff is good and I can put myself out there and people will like it. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're just helping them push that forward. So
Yeah.
definitely thankful for my teammates who have done that for me, and the players in the AUSL who have done that for me. But comment on your friend's stuff for sure.
If you're watching this, I hope you took that note. Small little lesson that'll go a long way. Comment and support your friends on social media. Last one for you. You've got a platform here, and I love to ask this question because I'm going to open up the floor to you. But if you were, you know, talking to maybe a 10-year-old girl who is in love with softball and wants to get to the level that you're at, what would you tell her?
Yeah, if I was talking to a younger version of myself, I would tell her to be able to learn the lesson and leave the moment. That is one thing that at 12 and at 22 I am still learning to do. I have always, you know, like struggled to allow myself to fail and to move forward. I think that is like a very common female trait, especially. We, you know, we want to be perfect and we want to please our coaches, dads, friends, teammates, whoever it is. Like we're pleasers. And so I think that is certainly what I would tell myself is learn the lesson, like live in the moment of failure and figure out what it can teach you, but leave the moment and be able to do it again tomorrow. Because it really, like, failure is an opportunity for feedback. And like the faster you can fail and the faster you can get it, the faster you can then try again knowing better. So I think had I, you know, learned to do that earlier and not waited until college to figure it out, I would have saved myself a lot of heartbreak for sure. I think it's part of what has made me great, the perfectionist in me, but it's also, you know, it's a bell curve. It's part of what's made me great, but it's also what has held me back in some spots. So learn the lesson, leave the moment, try again knowing better.
Love it. Mic drop. Great advice. There's a balance there, right? Because it is part of what made you a great softball player, but it can also be detrimental if you're stuck on things. Like take it, learn from it, and move on. I love that. That's what you said. That's great advice, even outside of sports, y'all.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this and you are not an athlete or even anywhere in the sports world, you can take that in everyday life. That's great advice. All right, Ali Newland. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. I know this was a little bit chaotic. It's been chaotic for months trying to schedule this, and then we do it, and then the recording's gone, but we did it. I'm 100%, 99.9% positive we've recorded and we're successful today. Pray to the gods. I appreciate you so much, and good luck with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to shout you out too before we go. Like, I'm super thankful for what you're doing for us and the way you're continuing to support women's sports. I think people choosing, you know, to invest in us makes all the difference in the world. So we couldn't do it without people like you. And I'm thankful for how you continue to cover us and put us in the spotlight. It's been awesome.
That means a lot to me. All right, my girl, you're the best.
Yeah, thanks so much.